we use leverage, and leverage is everything when it comes to real estate. But leverage is just not relative to real estate. It's more relative to us, to our life. Life is an art form that you don't get a chance to do it again, but you get a chance to learn from your mistakes and do things correctly. So here at Shapiro Capital, we preach perspective, we preach power, and the last thing we preach is principle. And those three cornerstones is what we do with every multifamily project that we do. And over the last 42 years, we have done over 25,000 units and over $5 billion in real estate transactions. Guys, Mark here, back at Shapiro TV, and I want to talk to you about what we do here at Shapiro Capital. So at Shapiro Capital, we use leverage, and leverage is everything when it comes to real estate. And we're going to go through a series of slides. We're going to talk about a bunch of things here, okay? But leverage is just not relative to real estate. It's more relative to us, to our life. And life is an art form that you don't get a chance to do it again, but you get a chance to learn from your mistakes and do things correctly. So here at Shapiro Capital, we preach perspective, we preach power, and the last thing we preach is principle. So we preach perspective, power, and principle. And those three cornerstones is what we do with every multifamily project that we do. I want to give you guys a little thought, okay? I want you to think about this. Tell me the last time you did something to help someone else. Simply a random act of kindness, okay? So we film these long form videos to give people insight and knowledge, okay? We're not trying to sell you anything. We're trying to help people get better. And the whole idea with me, okay, and everything that I have endured in my life, it's come from my relationship with God. People are always asking me, Mark, why do you wear a yarmulke? Which, if you can't see it, this is what I wear, okay? The reason I wear a yarmulke is it reminds me, and it's supposed to remind us, is that God is above us. That's it. It's that simple. Life is about simplicity. We make things complicated. And if you've ever noticed, either it's blue or white or orange today, I wear this on my wrist. And this is a bracelet that we give out, and if you see me, ask me for one, I'm happy to give it to you. It says, I am third. And what that means is God is first, my family and friends are second, and I come third. And what I like to do is teach you a little bit about what we do, our process, why we're so good at it. And I'm not here, okay, to tell you we're the best. There's lots of people in this space that are very, very good. And if we were the end-all be-all, then you probably wouldn't even be getting this free information, okay? Because I would be a megalomaniac thinking that I know better than everybody else. But guess what? I'm just like you, okay? I go to the bathroom the same way. I hurt the same way. I have days where I'm doubtful about things, okay? But every day I realize what I'm grateful for. So let's go on to our next slide. So we're in the multifamily space, and over the last 42 years, we have done over 25,000 units and over $5 billion in real estate transactions. Now, we're not here to impress you, and I'm not here to feed my ego, because on some of those deals, I did really well, and on some of those deals, I got my ass handed to me. And you have to know what a winner is, but you first have to know what it is to have a loser and what not to do and how the process unfolds every day in what you're doing. This is a super, super easy business if you keep it simple. If in this business you base your thoughts and you base your analysis on data, which is numbers, there is always enough data to back up what your assumptions are. And there's always enough data to prove out what you're doing, okay, with a property. And there are certain markets that you want to be in, and there are certain markets that you don't want to be in. And this is what we try to help you to do, to understand, to get to a point where it becomes second nature. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that do this. They're very good at it. Every time you see an apartment community and it's got a branded name on it, there's a lot of companies out there that are great. We like to think we're pretty good at it also. Let's go on to our next slide. So the 3 P's, principle, power, and perspective is what we've based the way we look and analyze a deal. First, we have the perspective of the market, because some people will look at a market and they'll say, I can't do business in that market. That market is not for me. But we're going to find markets where there is value to be added. We're going to find markets that are emerging. We're going to find markets where we typically are going to be 2 to 3xing our properties. And that's super important with what you do. What you need to do is you need to understand that this is a space where multiple people are in, and this is a space where you are in a necessity business. Under this business, we have food, clothing, and we're in the shelter business. And you want to be in the shelter business. Why is that? Because everybody needs a roof over their head, and everybody needs a place where they can lay their head at the end of the day, and they can go into their safe space. And one of the unique things that we do here at Shapiro Capital is we don't have apartment buildings, we have apartment communities. And we don't have tenants, we have residents. And we don't have problems, we have situations. So it's all about that perspective that creates a different understanding. And one of the most important things for us is to create a sense of community in every property that we own. Because that sense of community will keep our residents there, and we will avoid what is one of the taboos in this space is resident rollover. We're going to constantly hold on to our residents on a constant basis. So let's see what we have on the other side of this slide. Scalability, guys, right here, okay? The impact of being able to scale something is the impact of being able to leverage and recognize the opportunity. We were able to recognize an opportunity and purchase over 6,000 units, 16 properties in the state of Texas in one swoop, one deal, one transaction. And it changed the backbone of this company. Not all those 16 properties did we keep. We gave 2 back to the lender, and all the properties had different attributes in it. So we had to take every single set of our skills and attack each asset on a very different basis, one asset at a time. But it still was one large transaction. And being able to do that, it took a whole team. It took a set of policies and procedures. It took a team from legal to property management to construction management. And we were able to do that and execute a very successful transaction. And we were able to execute it from a level where it was below market to where it was in the market to where it was above market. And one of the philosophies that we have here at Shapiro Capital is we don't follow the market. We will set the bar on the rental rates. Once we go into an asset, we're going to move that asset from here to there. It's a small movement, but it's monumental when it comes to building a better asset, building a better community. One of the neat things that we actually like to do is it's all based on relationships, and that is based on trust. And that is based on when you're doing a deal and a deal goes sideways, who is the first person that you call? You call your lender and you tell them, look, I need your help. I'm having issues with this property. Here's what I need to do. What is your thoughts? When can we talk? That's the first thing. The second thing is that you need to be able to recognize the problem. You need to be able to recognize the situation and come up with a solution, because this is a business of all solutions. How do we solve this to get to there? How do we solve that to get to the next level? It's not throwing a Hail Mary like our great quarterback Doug Flutie threw a Hail Mary, okay? It's moving incrementally down the field. So the great, and I'll analogize it to a ball player, to the great Tom Brady. Tom Brady showed up every day. He wasn't the most talented. He certainly wasn't the fastest, and he didn't have the strongest arm. But Tom Brady was a winner, and he showed up every day. In this business, you need to show up day after day after day after day. And when you do that, you'll have a positive outcome. What we were able to do is we were able to build ourselves a set of policies and procedures. So if you analogize this and you look at this as the safety net under the trapeze artist, when something falls through the cracks, it's caught in the safety net. That safety net is going to pick you up, and it's going to help you go to the next level. It's going to show you the mistakes that you have, and it's going to show you how to correct them. And this is just very simple, very methodical what we do. It's all driven by policies and procedures. It's all driven by data. It's all driven by personal relationships. And if you want to take this business to the next level, You're going to create those relationships. You're going to go out there, you're going to go to the conferences, you're going to network, you're going to meet people. And every time you have a successful transaction, you don't need to promote it, you don't need to stick it in people's faces, but you need to show people what you've done, okay? You don't need to be arrogant in this business. You just need to be a good person executing and fulfilling your obligations. I'm going to hone in on one thing right here, hidden value. Every deal has intrinsic hidden value. It's up to you to have enough knowledge and enough understanding to be able to identify it. When we look at a deal, it could be losing money. It could be being foreclosed on. It could need a major renovation. It could be like one of the properties we bought. It was a portfolio of 37 buildings and every single roof was damaged by hail. But we looked at the insurance claim and we knew that we could actually make money from the insurance claim and repair all 4,000 squares of that roof on those 37 buildings. And we did that, and we were able to execute a successful transaction from that. And that was the hidden value. That was a few $1,000,000 in excess proceeds, and we were able to then take those excess proceeds and lift the actual communities. It was 3 properties in a portfolio, and we were able to make them much nicer, giving our residents a better quality place to live. And this is one of the things that you have to do. You need to find that value where it is, and then you need to identify it. And coming through our school and coming through our lessons, you're going to see that. Seeing what we do from a process standpoint and how we do it, seeing what we do when we do our due diligence, when we're buying a property, and seeing what we do when we actually execute it. This is what we do to make money for you and for us. Now, I know they want me to talk about leverage. So look at that. Here we go. Leverage. Guys, what is leverage? Leverage is using a lever to lift something that's much bigger, right? So that's a fulcrum. In real estate, because we can borrow against a fixed asset, we use less of our own capital and we use more institutional or bank debt, and that creates that leverage, that lever, that fulcrum. And that is how we get a bigger return. The greater the leverage, the greater the return. The greater the leverage, the greater the risk. So you have to balance it. You have to know how to balance it, and maybe in some situations you want to use lower leverage, and in some situations you want to use higher leverage. On a project in Malibu, this property has a lot of leverage because it's not going to be kept. It's a condominium conversion. That means it's from an apartment property and it's being sold as condominiums to individual owners, 68 apartments, and that is the highest and best use for that property. Even though it's a beautiful apartment building, gorgeous, right off of the Pacific Coast Highway, less than a mile from Zuma Beach, magnificent grounds, sloping, pickleball, steam room, sauna, beautiful gym, gorgeous property, parking, and centrally located. But this asset, the best use for this asset is to sell it to an end user, all 68 units. And you have to be able to understand that. Not every deal is going to be a rental. Not every deal is going to be a fix and flip. Not every deal are you going to go from level 1 to level 2. You have to follow the process. This is a process-driven business. It's a step-by-step process. Don't overthink it, don't overwork yourself, and don't make yourself feel uncomfortable. You follow your process, you will succeed. What we do here is we stick to our principles. We follow our perspective, and we follow our process. And we use that power to create the right leverage. You can do anything in this business. You can do anything in life if you have a plan and you execute the plan. You put guardrails on and you stay hyper-focused. Now, you're not always going to succeed. And what you need to do is when you don't succeed, you need to be able to go on to the next solution, because this is solution after solution. There was a movie I watched and it was called Martian. And he was stranded. And at the end of the movie, when he finally came home, he said something like this. I'll do my very best to paraphrase it. He said, when you go through a disaster, you have a problem and you need to solve it. And if you solve enough problems, you will come home. And he used his intellectual, his mathematics, everything that he did, he solved problem after problem after problem. And if you've never seen the movie, you should watch it because it is pretty remarkable. Because this is the real estate business. The real estate business is one problem after another problem after another problem to the pot of gold. It gets you to where you want to go. But you have to be able to go through the process step by step and then come up with solutions step by step, and not be afraid to take an out-of-the-box solution, because out-of-the-box works. You can do this. So each one of you are watching this, and I hope you watch all the way to the end, because we're going to give away a free book by Robert Allen. What of the 3 Ps are the hardest for you? What do you need the most work on? And I want you to understand, we're here to provide that for you. We're here to give you that opportunity to solve these problems. We're here to give you that opportunity to make your life better, okay? And we're doing that by changing other people's lives. If you go back to the beginning, okay, because God is so central in my life, doing something good for another person, something good will happen for you, okay? It's a simple thing. You do good and good happens. Don't think any other way. Look, everybody has shit going on every day. Everybody is disappointed. Everybody is kicked to the curb. People go through difficult relationships. People go through difficult breakups, okay? People don't achieve what they're trying to achieve on the first, the second, the fifth try. You need to keep on trying. You will succeed. You just never give up. Don't ever give up. And what I want to remind you of here is a free giveaway. So for everybody that watches this, please click on the QR code and get your free copy of Robert G. Allen. He's the one that started this whole thing. It's called Nothing Down, and it will change your life. I got that book when I was going into my junior year in college from my mother, and it's changed my life forever. And obviously, if you want to learn more about what we're doing, you can click on the QR code and you can come in and talk to one of my investment advisors, and we are going to show you how to level up your game. You want to buy multifamily, you want to buy a 1 to 4 without any money down, you need help fixing your credit, we are here to change your life. This is what we do. We're making a difference, one person at a time. And if you promise to me to pay it forward, I will help you change that other person's life. Let's go.